I have a second channel, Cube Comp MTDX. Hey everybody. So it's been a little over a month now since I have picked up this DB Power D2 action camera, and I'm going to say for $30 this thing is an absolute steal. It is fantastic. It shoots very excellent 1080p 60 FPS footage, and it claims it can also do 4K 25 FPS, which I believe is interpolated, but it definitely is a great 1080p 60 FPS camera, and it also offers a lot of different functionality. Also includes Wi-Fi and all that good stuff. I've been using this for filming bike rides, filming storms, filming a little bit of everything actually. So it's getting about time for me to do a review of this thing, but I'll be featuring that at a later time. But earlier this week I happened to be on Fleabay, and I just for the heck of it looked up some action cameras, and I came across this listing for around $13. And I figured, $13 with free shipping and a U.S. seller. And I was like, what will we get for this? So here we have it, the $13 action camera, and the packing has a little left to be desired. It's just the box that this thing was packed in, thrown into a bag with a USPS label on it. So let's hope that nothing got broken inside here. And I present to you the sports cam in a very beat up box. Yeah, I'm not a real fan of how they ship this thing, but I mean, free shipping. They were obviously going to be losing some money. So this might look a bit familiar for those who've watched videos in the past. You remember the sports cam I got for my birthday last year in 2018? Yeah, that thing was just not that great. But the waterproof casing and all the accessories that it came with, and all the mounts that it came with, they all work with this DB Power D2, because this is another SJ Cam knockoff, except a better SJ Cam knockoff. So this one in the listing claims it's a SJ4000, which we know it's not a genuine SJ4000, it's a knockoff of a SJ4000. So let's go and open this thing up and see what we have here. So you get this manual, which might look familiar. Sports Cam, waterproof, Full HD 1080p. Now, even this thing being at its best is not going to be as great as the DB Power D2, but I figured, hey, if the camera's crap, you know what? For $13, the accessories alone are worth that price, because it comes with the watertight case, comes with the back mount, handlebar mount, and all this good stuff here. Comes with the battery, which, yeah, I'm curious to see if the battery's going to be worth the crap. Comes with a USB cable and the manual. I don't think I have the manual to my other sports cam, but let's see what the inside of this looks like here. This is definitely not the same camera though, guys, because, well, we'll show you here in a second. So if you look carefully, this one offers an HDMI port. The other one did not. So this one might, who knows, it actually might do better. And you should note, user manual V3.0. I'd have to look back at my previous video to see what the version number of the other sports cam manual was. So here's the waterproof case that it comes in, and I'd say it's a decent case. I've used my DB Power D2 in it as well. You pull this latch over and this thing lifts up, and then it opens right up. So upon a basic inspection of the device, it looks like it has the same lens as last year's sports cam did, which I did test this lens on my Kodak ZI6, and it does offer a wide angle view, but I do not think it's the same wide angle as the DB Power D2. The DB Power D2 has a different lens on it, by the way. So here's this in comparison with the DB Power D2. As you see, they're extremely similar. As you can see, this one does have a different lens on it. This one's probably a better quality lens. And around here somewhere, not sure if I can spot it right offhand, all this junk on my desk. Somewhere I still had the, here it is right here. I still have the front plate off the previous sports cam. You can see they're pretty much the same. This one has a little bit different HT1080p on it though. So is a battery inside of it or not? Let's see here. Kind of tough to get in there. Yes, the battery's in there. See what battery they give us in this one. The battery is definitely different in this one. It's a different color at least. But the weight of it is not really saying much. This is the battery that came with the DB Power D2, and it is noticeably heavier than this one. But I will be testing the battery out to see what we can get out of it. It is your common SJ cam compatible battery. It's the same exact form factor as this. And in the background you can see I have a it's a Camcong battery off of Amazon. It's a you can buy two of these and the charger for like, I don't know, $13, $15, something like that. So I figured, why not let's go and weigh the battery, see what it weighs. Okay, let's go and power on the gram scale. Let's start by weighing the DB Power D2's battery. It comes in at about 17.7 grams. This Camcong battery comes in at about 21.76 grams. And this one, just 8.8 grams. So yeah, this is definitely not a 900 milliamp hour battery. And it's probably going to be very similar, if not the same, to that other one, which this is the shell from it. I actually pulled the battery out of it. I do have the battery cell, actually. It's a little lithium polymer battery cell. So I have it wrapped up in tape here around these contacts, but this is what the battery in this here probably looks just like. It's a little bitty 200 milliamp hour battery cell. Nothing spectacular. So yeah, more likely the battery's junk. But what do you expect for a $13 camera? So in case you're wondering, yeah, my mom she's the one who got me that camera last year. She mentioned she didn't get it from Amazon or eBay. She got it from some other site I never really heard of. One of the guys on her mail route has one of these action cameras and recommended it to her, which I told her, I said, yeah, after researching these things, the thing with these cheap end sports cameras is it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. you have good ones and you have ones that are garbage. So let's see if the battery even has any charge on it. Let's pop it in there and see if this thing will power on. I'll have to go get a memory card and stuff like that, but let's see if it can power on. Yep. Oh, look. Look what we have here. It's the same crappy firmware as the last one. Oh, boy. I kind of had a feeling this is what we was going to get. It's junk. It's junk. Look at this. It's just like the one I had last year. So again, like this manual here tells you, it tells you can do all this and all that with it. No, you can't. It's garbage. Yeah, I knew this is what I was going to come to. So if you look carefully here, you can see the battery's almost dead. You can tell, you can obviously tell this is not shooting in 1080p. I will say that the firmware is dated later. It's dated 2019, January 1st. Now we're in picture mode. This thing can supposedly record audio. Why would anybody want that in the action cam? I don't know. It's a digital zoom. Yeah, this is not that great. Yeah, so on this one you have to press down and hold the shutter to get the menu. The DB power is a little bit different. So you see it says size 1080p. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe it at all. Which is, I'll set down the VGA just for the heck of it. And you see how we have a left arrow for exit. That doesn't correspond with anything to do with this freaking camera. You actually have to press this button here to get out of the menu. So now it's shooting in VGA mode. So I figure before we come to a final verdict, let's go ahead and get a SD card in this thing and see what this thing can do. Okay, so went to pull the battery out and you can see it kind of grabbed at the little label on the side. Yeah, this battery here doesn't even fit it very well. Oh man. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop in a memory card. Oh, look! Look! There's no micro, there's no HDMI out on this thing. This thing lying. Look at this. The manual and the photos mention HDMI port. Well, even the eBay listing mentions HDMI port. I'm going to contact the seller and say this thing does not have an HDMI port. Probably going to be telling them that this camera is a piece of crap too. So we'll pop this memory card in and see what we can get. Like I said, I don't want to return it because the reason, I mean, when I bought this, I had a feeling I was going to be getting a piece of crap camera, but as I mentioned, the accessories alone are worth the $13. So it's going to pop in this battery since it's fully charged. And let's see what we can get out of this thing. Let's see if the video quality that it shoots is going to be just as bad as the quality of the screen. Or at least what it shows. Well, the other thing I noticed is the volume is down really low. So to start out, we're going to actually... First thing, we're going to get that timestamp off of there. It is set to 60 hertz. Unlike the last one, which I think was defaulting to 50 hertz. Back in photo mode again. So we are shooting in VGA mode now. Let's do a little recording. Okay, so this is VGA mode on the sports cam. And right away it looks like it's really zoomed in when it shouldn't be really zoomed in. This is pretty bad for an action camera, I will say. Now here's the thing. Let's go up to 1080p. So now it claims that's in 1080p. Let's shoot a quick video. So now this thing is supposedly recording in 1080p, which I'm pretty sure it's not. It's going to probably be recording in 640 by 480. And let's try the 720p function. Okay, so this is recording in supposedly 720p, which I believe is still recording in 640 by 480 in reality. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll include the video clips in this video to you to see if I can go and review them right quick. Let's see what we get. Okay, so this is VGA mode on the sports cam. And right away it looks like it's really zoomed in when it shouldn't be really zoomed in. This is pretty bad for an action camera, I will say. Okay, so I reviewed the footage from this thing, and yes, it's just as horrible as the sports camera from last year. So, yeah, and like I mentioned, when I bought this, I had a feeling I was going to be getting a piece of crap camera, but, as mentioned, the accessories that it comes with, the waterproof case, all this stuff, for example, this little back mount. This one looks like it's a little bit different, but let's see here. Get it in there. It's like this one was sourced from a different manufacturer. It takes a little bit of maneuvering to get it in there, but it is compatible with this camera, as you can see. It's going to take a little bit of breaking in. So right now the camera's sitting at a little bit of a weird angle, but hey, what do you expect? That. Also the case. Like it was made for it. So now I have 3 of these watertight cases. I have the original one that came with the DB Power camera, and I have 2 of these. So yeah, I mean just the accessories alone that it comes with, it's worth $13. But I mean, I'm I'm going to be contacting the eBay seller and saying, hey, look, I'm going to take a picture of this and say, this is the product you're selling does not match what you're showing in the listing. And it's definitely not an SJ cam. It's obviously a knockoff. At least this one came in a box. But see, look, it tells you 1080p waterproof. It tells you that it can. Now it's funny. Is here it says that it only shoots in 1080p at 15 frames per second, in 720p at 30 frames per second, 140-degree wide-angle lens, whereas the DV Power camera has a 170-degree wide-angle lens. Yeah, the lens in the DV Power camera is obviously better, but yeah, I figured just for the heck of it, let's take the batteries out of these things. Which I will say that getting the battery out of the DV Power camera is loads easier than getting it out of the sports cam. Getting the door off at least. So, let's see what these things weigh. Even just the weight of the device can tell you a general idea of the quality of it. So the DV Power D2 comes in at roughly 40 grams. The SJ4000 knockoff comes in at just about 32 grams, so it is a little bit lighter. And I think part of it is maybe the electronics inside the camera and also the lens. The DV Power D2 obviously has a better quality lens than this thing. Yeah, that one there is just, yeah. Now, as I mentioned, the lens will work on a Kodak ZI-6, which is rather interesting. But oh, this camera had an SD card in it, but yeah, the little micro SD cards barely weigh anything at all, like a quarter of a gram. So yeah, if you're out looking for an action camera, just don't bother with these. Just don't. The reason why I bought this again was really for the accessories. Usually these cases alone, if you were to look up a case for an SJ4000 style camera, you're going to be spending about $10 on just the case. So to get a case, get all these different mounts, like you see here, I'd say it's worth it for $13. But if you're just out looking for an action camera, I'd say just save your money and go to Amazon and buy the DV Power D2. This is a $30 camera, and it shoots a whole lot better video. Heck, even if this thing here did what it claimed according to the box, you still only be getting 15 frames per second in 1080p HD. So, yeah. Yeah, even the genuine SJ4000 can shoot 1080p at 30 frames per second. So, there you have it, guys. So I may end up tearing this thing apart in another video. I am curious if I could perhaps flash a different firmware to it, but it was the same kind of ordeal that I had with the last one. It was like trying to find something that would actually work, and of course the SJ firmware will not flash this thing. I already tried. And I tried with the previous one too. So that's the difference between a good SJ cam knockoff, a good knockoff of a GoPro, and a crappy SJ cam knockoff. Or in other words, a crappy knockoff of a GoPro. But hey, at least the accessories are good. Okay, but I'd like to go ahead and add a little bit more to this video. So the previous clips you just saw I shot back in August, and here it is December. So I'm just not getting this video uploaded to YouTube, but I want to go and share the experience I had with the eBay seller. I never did really elaborate much on that when I shot this video back in August, but so I did go online to eBay and I did contact the seller, and I did get a full refund, but I was kind of giving it a runaround in a way. You know, at first I wasn't initially planning on getting a refund. I initially had planned to just notify the seller, say, hey, the camera you sent me does not meet It does not match what is specified in your listing, lacking the micro HDMI port, among other things. So this here is the conversation. I just went ahead and copied and pasted here in the Word to get rid of the seller's name as such. So this is my opening message. So yesterday I had received this camera in the mail. The package was a bit beat up, but the camera had accessories, and the camera and accessories were right okay. Given the shipping was free, no complaints about that. Here's the thing, the camera I received is not a genuine SJ4000, which for the listing it was kind of obvious this was a knockoff. The camera I received, however, does not have a micro HDMI port on the side like the ones pictured in the listing, and I had an attached image of my camera. Even the manual supplied with this camera makes note of an HDMI output, which doesn't exist on the camera I'd received. Also, this camera shoots only in 640 by 480 pixel resolution, not 1920 by 1080p or 1280 by 720p. The settings in the menu indicate VGA, 720p, and 1080p, but all the files put out by the device show 640 by 480 resolution, which is VGA. Also, I have noticed that the lens on the camera is crooked, and I don't think I mentioned that in the video that I just shot, but the lens is actually a little bit crooked, and I think I do go over that in a subsequent video where I tear the device apart. Although the price of these are low, these cameras are not up to par with the specifications described in the listing. I was not sure if you were aware of this or not. I'm not interested in returning it as accessories are compatible with my DB Power D2 action camera, but I wanted to bring this to your attention. Regards. So, this is all the seller initially mentioned. Thanks a million. And of course, the listings continued. No changes to the listings. And of course, I was kind of expecting that because I kind of knew what was going on here. So, after a couple more days, I followed up again and asked, so do the other cameras you're selling under this listing have the HDMI port and actually record in real 1080p and not just say HD 1080p on the front? Because how am I supposed to be leaving great feedback on an item that differs from the one pictured in the listing? There are knockoffs of the SJ4000 that actually do what they are supposed to do, and there are those like this that are junk. The camera I received from you can't record anything higher than a digital camera made in 2001. Although accessories that came with the camera will work with my other similar camera, I still received a fake camera that not only cannot shoot in 1080p like it claims, but also differs from the camera pictured in listing, lacking the HDMI port on the side. See, at this point, after that lame response, I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to settle for that. So, I mentioned, how am I supposed to leave good feedback on something like this when what you're selling does not even match what you're describing and listening? I don't care how much it costs. It's still. So, seller responds, sincerely sorry to hear your disappointment. Can we refund you 45% to make you feel better? Can you accept this? Please don't leave us negative feedback. You can always send us your advice or communicate us in a message. We will assist you all the time. Oh yeah, once I mentioned about anything about feedback, I was like, I'm sorry. And I reply back, here's the issue I have now. If you look back in this conversation, you will see where I noted that the camera I received not having HDMI out connector on it like the camera's picture in the listing, and also having a crooked lens on the front. I included images of both issues. I did mention that I wasn't interested in returning it as accessories were compatible with my DB Power D2 action camera, and that I had wanted to bring this to your attention. Another reason why I didn't have interest in returning it is because it wouldn't make sense to spend $6 to $8 on shipping to return something that costs less than $13. This is with the expectation that I would receive a response from you that contained a bit more than thanks a million. Had the picture camera looked like the one which I received, which lacks the HDMI port, I would not have purchased this from you. I received a camera just like this last year from a gift from a relative. It also lacked the HDMI port and only recorded in 640 by 480 resolution. Generally, the ones that can record in HD had the HDMI port on the side. I'm attaching a picture of my DB Power D2. You'll see the HDMI port I'm talking about. Look carefully at the camera picture and you're listening, you'll also see this HDMI port. It was only when I mentioned about potentially leaving back feedback that you apologized and then offered to only partially refund me. I didn't just receive an item that was defective. I received something that was quite a bit different than pictured in your listing. It does not record in 1080p as described. If I received a camera that is just like was pictured in your listing and records in full HD 1080p as described, I would leave you great feedback. But when I receive something that differs from what is listed, and despite me bringing this to your attention, you continue to sell these, and you have several listings of this exact camera, how am I supposed to recommend it? And they replied back, "Oh, can we refund you full for this item? Can we full refund you for this item? We just had this happen a moment. Can you consider this? I'll accept the full refund, but I would like for you to stop selling the cameras that do not match up to the description and images posted in your listing, the ones that like the HDMI port. It is not fair for one to assume that the device will record in full HD and have an HDMI port on the side for connecting it to a TV, to then receive a camera that lacks the port and can't record anything more than 640 by 480 resolution. Here's why the HDMI port is so important here. The HDMI port signals that the camera's hardware is likely capable of recording HD video. When the camera lacks the port, it means that the hardware inside is a cheap clone that cannot record in 1080p HD. I mentioned in a previous message that I'd received a camera just like this one last year. I did a full teardown of that one. Not only did the camera lack the HDMI port, but the circuit board inside also lacked the location where the port would be soldered in. Everything down to the CMOS sensor was not capable of recording HD. Even the battery was a fake, despite being labeled as 900 mAh. It could only hold a charge of 200 mAh. I assume that by mentioning we just had this happen in a moment that you don't have any cameras with the HDMI port like the one pictured in the listing. If you do have one with the HDMI port, you're welcome to send it to me instead. But at the least, you should stop selling these sports cams without the HDMI port, as they are clearly fakes that cannot record in 1080p HD. At the least, it would save you the trouble of having to deal with returns and refunds to unsatisfied customers and potentially negative or neutral feedback. So, the seller did issue a refund. And there's one thing that I did not mention to this seller or mention about this seller is the listing specified the item was located in California. Well, that was correct. But the seller failed to clarify or disclose that by purchasing from this seller that I would be hit with a foreign transaction fee by PayPal. So yeah, I was hit by a sub $1 foreign transaction fee because the seller is actually located in Hong Kong. That's where his payment was received, in Hong Kong, not California. So yeah. And I'm pretty sure all along the seller knew exactly what he was up to. Maybe he didn't, I don't know. Some of these people probably sell these things without even knowing a thing about them, just assuming that they actually are what they say they are. But like I said, it's ridiculous. So I ended up getting this thing for free. And if the seller would have been a bit more cooperative to begin with, instead of just saying this right here when I open this message up with all this information, not even an apology, I probably wouldn't have been so hard on them. But after that, I said, you know what, the heck with it, I'm done. So anyways, that is another sports cam. So if you ever go on eBay and you look for a cheap action camera, just look through the pictures carefully. I think almost every one of these crap cameras, a lot of times, at least the sports cams, you'll see that red or blue manual somewhere in the listing that says sports cam on it. And if you do, don't bother with it because it's a piece of crap. It's a piece of crap. So just like the previous sports cam, the only good thing that you get is the accessories. So if you have a DV Power D2 like mine right here, the accessories that come with these pieces of crap will work just fine with it because it's the same exact style of camera. As a matter of fact, you'll get to see this in a later teardown video where I actually open this thing up to do some work in it. So, on side note, I just placed an order today on eBay for a Runme R2 action camera, which I believe is identical to the DB Power D2. I paid about $27.50 for it on eBay with free shipping. It should be here later this week. So I guess I can say I'll officially have R2 and D2 of action cameras. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Well guys, that's it for this one. But it doesn't have to be. There's plenty more videos on the channel to check out. Also, if you liked the video, please click the like button. And if you absolutely hated it, there is the alternative button as well. But yeah, please subscribe to the channel. I definitely appreciate it. And remember to click the bell so that we get notified of all updates. Also, if you're interested in things aside from computers and technology, check out my second channel. It's CubeComp MTDX. Over there you'll find videos about weather, elevators, bicycling, and pretty much whatever else I figure out to upload. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for your support.